Imagine having a Hollywood studio's entire creative team in your pocket. That future is closer than you think, and the company building it has been collecting the data to make it possible for years. Here's what's coming. We're standing at an inflection point in content creation, and most people don't realize it yet. The tools that were once available only to Hollywood studios with million-dollar budgets are about to become accessible to everyone. And the company leading this transformation has a unique advantage. They've been collecting data on what works in content for years, across billions of views. And now they're using that data to build AI tools that will fundamentally change how stories are told. Oscar Hogland's vision for the future of content creation is both ambitious and democratizing. What we're trying to do is usher in a new world where everyone who's a storyteller, whether you're a 200-person editing team and a full production or a solo entrepreneur, gets access to the same kind of tooling and a level playing field. Think about what it takes to create professional content today. You need a music supervisor to help you find the right tracks and understand how music enhances emotion. You need an editor who understands pacing and knows when music should start, when it should pause, when it should build. You need someone who understands sound effects and mastering and how all these elements come together. Historically, this has been incredibly expensive and difficult to pull together. A solo creator or small business simply couldn't afford this level of expertise. But Epidemic Sound has reached what Oscar calls an inflection point, and what they're about to release will completely level the playing field. Here's how. They have the catalog of music. They have millions of customers. They have deep understanding of how content performs across different platforms. And most importantly, they have data. Massive amounts of data about what works, what doesn't, and why. We can accumulate huge amounts of data. This is the music we have. These are all the artists. This is all the art we work with. And we've known historically over time, this is how it's performed. This is where there's engagement. This is where there is feedback. And we can start to play that back individually to content creators. This is where AI becomes transformative, not as a replacement for human creativity, but as a tool that gives everyone access to insights that were previously available only to those with huge budgets. Oscar is clear about this. It's never going to be the case that AI could or should replace the human connections, but it can play a crucial role in facilitating that. If you want to stay ahead of these AI tools that are reshaping content creation, subscribe now so you're ready when they launch. So what does this actually look like in practice? Epidemic Sound has already started releasing tools that hint at this future. They launched AI voice capabilities a few months ago. But the more interesting innovation is something that seems simple, but represents a fundamental shift in how creators work. Historically, you had to bend your entire story around the music. Now, the music bends around your story. And this one shift changes everything about creative freedom. If you found a music track you loved, you had to re-edit your entire video to fit the track. The music was fixed, so your story had to bend around it. This was cumbersome and creatively limiting. Epidemic Sound flipped this. Now you can edit your video exactly how you want it. Get the story perfect. Find the ideal track, and then use AI tools to adapt the track to fit your edit. You can now use our AI tools to allow the artist's track and vision to be slightly adapted such that it fits better to the actual stories you're looking to make. This might not sound revolutionary, but think about what it represents. The technology is serving the creative vision, not the other way around. The AI is making the music flexible enough to support whatever story you want to tell. What makes this particularly powerful is the learning curve, or rather, the lack of one. Traditional music editing required years of training to understand tempo, key signatures, transitions, and emotional arcs. Now, the AI handles the technical complexity while you focus purely on creative intent. You don't need to know that shifting from C major to A minor creates melancholy, or that a tempo change from 120 to 90 beats per minute slows emotional pacing. You just describe the feeling you want, and the AI translates your creative vision into technical execution. This democratization of expertise means the barrier between imagination and execution is collapsing faster than most people realize. The roadmap goes much further. Imagine having an AI music supervisor that understands your channel, your brand, your audience, and your goals. You tell it the direction you want to go, and it analyzes massive amounts of data to suggest tracks that will work. Not just tracks that sound good, but tracks that have performed well in similar contexts, that create the emotional response you're looking for, that fit the platform you're publishing on. We can aggregate huge amounts of data to determine where we think you're going, and then we can start to serve you suggestions. And the more we interact with you, the more we get to know you, and the better our suggestions can become. But it's not just about recommendations. The vision includes tools that help you understand when music makes sense in your video and when it doesn't, when to use sound effects, how to master your audio, how to make everything come together. These are skills that professional editors spend years developing. Now they're being encoded into software that anyone can access. Oscar's advice to creators trying to leverage these tools is to start with clarity about your creative vision. Let's establish what would I like to sound like? What are the values? What are the core stories I'm trying to tell? Once you have that clarity, the AI tools can help you execute on that vision. But you also need to be what Oscar calls a ferocious learner. Study the creators you admire. Understand what makes their content work. There's a broader pattern here worth noting. The most successful applications of AI in creative fields aren't about replacing humans. They're about giving humans superpowers. They're about taking expertise that was previously scarce and expensive and making it abundant and accessible. A solo creator can now have tools that rival what a Hollywood studio has. A small business can create content that competes with major brands. The playing field is leveling, and that's going to unleash an explosion of creativity from people who previously couldn't afford to compete. We're entering a world where the barriers to professional quality content creation are collapsing, where a teenager with a smartphone and access to the right tools can create content that rivals what major studios produce, where creativity is limited not by budget or access to expertise, but by imagination and willingness to learn. That's the future Oscar is building toward. And if they get it right, if they can truly democratize access to professional-grade creative tools while maintaining the human element that makes content meaningful, they won't just build a successful company. They'll fundamentally change who gets to tell stories and how those stories get told. If you want to be ready for this AI-powered future of content creation, subscribe now so you don't miss a single update. And keep watching. The next video reveals even more strategies for building platforms that scale. Click it now and let's keep going.